Let's talk about how Suno can work on your music now. This is how I intend to use AI, not to generate music out of the blue, but to take something that I've created and modify it, perhaps give me new, fresh ideas to use that I can extract and then flesh out and work into a composition. Or perhaps I want to feed it some of my music and just let it do its thing on it, trying to maintain the overall shape of my music, the harmonies of my music, the expressive intent to some extent of the music. You can do all this also in this Suno tool. You can also import your own voice to sing if you want to. But my main use of this tool is to, number one, put my music into it and let it work on it in different ways to give me ideas. And number two, perhaps even just manipulate those inputs I give it and have it come out with something creative that I'm okay with. But it's still working on my music. To some extent, it's just an orchestrator. Instead of me paying some orchestrator to do something to my music, this can do it direct. So what do you do here? I already have an example we'll use on this Kerry dance, this Irish tune that I initially arranged for 4 recorders. In the studio, you can just click the upload audio button and go in and then select an audio file. For example, Kerry MP3 dance. I can click that and it will import it. Select the Kerry dance, which is my original composition. That'll come up. I'll save that. It will load into the tool. Right click on that. I'll select remix and then make a cover of it. And then it loads it up. And now what I can do is I can add styles. I can add some kind of notation as to how I want this thing to arrange or recompose the music based on what I've given it. Now, there are some controls here on the advanced option that let you say, hey, how much of that music do you want me to use? Do you want me to take 25% of it and I'll just kind of fill in what I think is appropriate? Or you can say the auto influence, make it 100% my music. I don't want you to do too much to it. I want it to be me. And then you can have a style influence, and this is what you put in. I can say, make this jazz and not an Irish kind of a style, but I'll have a style influence on this. Normally, I keep these kind of in the middle, and weirdness, I normally turn that down. You don't want to make things too weird. That's kind of adding its own thing, however it decides to do it. So I'll go in, I'll put some styles, and let's say I want this to be Irish. I want it to be an orchestral manipulation of my original inputs, which are 4 recorders. And I could give it some other notations like how fast I want to play it. But let's just see what it does with some simple inputs. Let me start by playing the original piece, which again is an arrangement of the famous Kerry dance for 4 recorders. Now let's play what Suno created. You'll see that it maintains the overall shape of my piece. It maintains the melodic structure. It maintains a lot of the same harmonies. It builds on the rhythm, though changes it a bit to make it more dynamic. It rearranges things a little bit, adding a measure here or there to suit its metric needs. And it also, at the end, adds a section that it takes from previous material to make the piece a little longer and gives it its own dynamic ending, which the original piece didn't have. But for the most part, it's taking my music, it's taking my melodies, it's taking my counterpoint to some extent, it's taking the basic harmonies, it's taking the overall shape. You'll see one of the problems is that it doesn't add the main melody counterpoint at the end, as in the original, against the high recorder filigree going on there. And so what I did is I just played that in, mixed it in, playing my Osmos that played an Eigenmatrix module, playing the standard Eigenmatrix bagpipe patch. So that's something also that you can do. Obviously, I can take this music, I can get the stems out of it, import it into a DAW, and add my own stuff to it. I can extract MIDI, though it's not so great on the MIDI output right now. But this is not AI creating something totally new. This is AI as an arranger, as an orchestrator, and to some extent as a producer. And in that regard, I think AI is going to be a boon, a real advantage for composers that know how to take their music and manipulate it and very, very quickly create something that someone who doesn't have these tools could take weeks to do, you can do in a day. Well, you can see here, as opposed to the last March example, Suno went a little more to town on this one. It added its own introduction. It thought it needed to repeat some places, some material. It left out some melodies. When the counter melody was coming in, Suno seems to have a little bit of a problem having two melodies going on at the same time. Not quite sure which one's the main melody, I guess. There's also some sonic artifacts in this. It's probably not something that you'd actually use and distribute, but certainly it's great for giving you ideas on how you might orchestrate a piece. Some of the things it did here, I wouldn't actually think about doing. So once again, we can use Suno here to give us great ideas on how to take some existing music, in this case, 4-part recorder music, and see what kind of arrangement it might create. I found that if you add more parts, if you give it more than just a piano part, you give it a few different instruments, Suno takes that and can do more with it. As before, the more of your own music you give Suno, the more Suno will give you back your own music arranged, as opposed to trying to figure out something it can add on its own that you may not like at all.